World's End by Tom Barry. The man sandwiched between the two boards hanging from his shoulders by straps was small enough for the boards to reach halfway down his legs. Though not appearing obese, he had what looked like a corpulent body dressed in a suit that had seen better days. His shoes likewise were down at heel, and the cap on his head sat like a crown but failed to contain an abundance of grey-black hair. His face was round, with a florid complexion, and when he smiled, his smile was adorned with a set of perfect teeth. The words in large black block letters announced that the world was about to end. He walked slowly up and down on a circuit that began and ended on a busy shopping street from one certain point before turning and retracing his steps to another certain point. The supermarket in front of which he trod was large, and a steady stream of customers came and went. An elderly woman of indeterminate age, exiting from the supermarket, eyed the warning on the board and without hesitation walked up to the man as he retraced his steps and without a word swung her handbag, hitting the man a thump on his shoulder. The man, without a word, stopped, turned to the woman and asked calmly, "Have I done something to upset you, ma'am? Why are you parading up and down here trying to put the fear of God into everyone?" "Why do you think I'm trying to put the fear of God into anyone?" he replied calmly. "Go and find yourself a decent job out of people's way. Isn't it enough that we have to worry about, Corona something?" she shrilled. "Oh, you mean coronavirus or COVID-19, he replied genially. "Don't get smart with me, you lazy lout, or I'll hit you with this," showing the man her bag of shopping. She's stressed with this long lockdown, the sandwich board man decided. An elderly gent emerged from the store and heard the woman shouting at the man with the sandwich boards. He could see that she was upset and assumed that the sandwich board carrier had upset her. Walking up to her, he put his bag down and, reaching out, touched her arm, asking her kindly, "Are you all right, dear? Can I help?" while looking accusingly at the man. "Don't you touch me, you old lech," she growled, swinging her handbag once again. The elderly man ducked as the handbag flew overhead and missed. However, it connected with another elderly gentleman who had just exited the store and who was trying to avoid the commotion. The poor man fell against the handbag-wielding woman, who screamed as she pushed him away and into the first gentleman. "What's wrong with you, you old bat?" the first man cried. "Look what you've done." "The two of you tried to accost me," she accused, looking at the two men holding on to each other. "Don't let your imagination run away with you," he shouted, as he pulled himself off the other gentleman. "Lockdown must be affecting you." The sandwich board man stood fascinated, a look of wide-eyed amusement on his ruddy face. The door of the supermarket opened again, and a number of shoppers emerged with their shopping, followed by a young man in a wheelchair, his right leg in a knee-length surgical boot. He was carrying a bag of shopping on his lap, and the pretty young woman who was pushing him tried to avoid the affray, but instead hit the handbag-wielding woman who was trying to move around the semi-prone gentleman. She toppled into the young man's lap. He threw his arms out protectively to arrest her fall. "Will you watch what you're doing?" the young man cried. But fall she did into his outstretched arms, her face coming to rest on his shoulder, and her body draped over his bag of shopping. Into the midst of what now truly resembled a fracas, with people lying, kneeling, falling, walking, a tall woman appeared, brandishing a large silver cross in one hand and a set of rosary beads in the other. Reciting aloud as she approached, the woman announced in sonorous tones, "Time is running out for sinners. Repent or be cast into outer darkness." The handbag-wielding woman, trying to extricate herself from the wheelchair man's embrace, succeeded in knocking them both sideways as she wriggled to her feet. As they toppled over, the young woman tried to keep the chair steady, but the weight of the two bodies, the shopping and the wheelchair, was too much, and she followed, losing her balance. The young man succeeded in pushing the woman off as they fell, only for her to sprawl in front of the cross-bearing, bead-carrying woman, who, shocked and surprised in the middle of her oration as she went down, hit the young woman a wallop on her head just as she began to rise. "Why, you old crow, what do you think you're doing?" she wailed as she grabbed the cross and hit the tall woman back. "Sinners, repent, for the apocalypse is upon us," the woman cried, craning towards the sandwich board man, who remained steadfast on the spot, his amused smile even bigger. "Have you not seen the message that the man is conveying? You're being warned. Pay heed." Into the midst of this melee, 2 security guards from the supermarket arrived, hoping not only to help quell the mini-riot, but to safeguard the passage of customers to and from the supermarket's entry and exit. Both bent to assist the fallen man in the wheelchair. Unfortunately, the young woman who was pulling herself upright lost her balance again as the 2 men began awkwardly to right the wheelchair, trying not to hurt the young occupant who was lying sideways in the fallen wheelchair, and fell bodily onto the taller of the 2, who now lay under the young woman, on top of whom the other security guard, having lost his balance, pitched over and fell on top of the young woman, sandwiching her between the 2. Get off me, the young woman shouted, trying to extricate herself from between the 2 security officers. "Will you get your knee out of my crotch?" the first fallen security man cried. Just then a large orange-coloured van pulled into the curb. The side door burst open and out leaped a chap in a purple suit and a long ponytail. He quickly placed 2 large boxes on either side of the open door and jumped back on board. Immediately the sound of loud dance music exploded from the van, filling the street with lively sounds. Suddenly the sandwich board man threw off the sandwich boards, followed by the clothes he was wearing, to reveal a black sequined suit, a top hat and tap shoes. He proceeded to dance around the fallen shoppers, waving his arms and pirouetting rhythmically. "Let me give you a hand," one of the old gentlemen offered the cross-carrying woman, who graciously accepted his hand. "May I help you up, my dear?" The other elderly gentleman offered the handbag-wielding woman, who graciously accepted, saying, "You're so kind," as she rose to a standing position, keeping her handbag safely by her side. Security guards succeeded in extricating themselves from the wheelchair with the young man and his young wife, he having advised them of her status. And it wasn't long before a crowd of shoppers gathered around the now chatting group. "Would you care to dance?" the gentleman asked the handbag lady. "You're so kind to ask. I'd love to," as they broke into a waltz. "Would you care to dance?" the other gentleman asked the cross and bead carrying lady. "Oh, I'd love to. I haven't danced in yonks," she replied enthusiastically, twisting the beads to form a necklace around her neck. "Would you like your cross back, ma'am?" the young wife kindly asked the lady. "You can keep it, my dear. It might bring you good fortune," she answered with a smile, as she was swept off to the music. The younger of the 2 security guards asked permission from the young wheelchair-bound man if he could ask his wife to dance, to which he agreed, with a smile from his young wife. "Would you?" he asked. "I'd love to," she replied with a grin. The young man in the wheelchair looked on with a longing gaze as his wife danced away, and the taller security guard stated, "Well, they're all dancing." And then, "May I ask you to dance, sir?" "Oh yes, you may, provided you don't step on my toes," he answered jovially. A loud cheer rose from the watching crowd of shoppers, who, unable to resist the music, began seeking partners amongst themselves and joining in the already swaying and gliding group, filling the footpath with dancing couples. The sandwich board man, glistening in his sequin suit, hat and tap shoes, asked a very pretty 60-something lady who had just arrived, "Care to dance?" His ruddy face beaming. "Ooh, how could I resist?" she replied, taking his hand. The music changed from waltz to music to sing, starting with "Happy Days Are Here Again." The dancers, everyone joined in with and we are free from cocoon again. No more stress of being shut away again. Happy days are here again. The happy music and singing resounded around the quiet streets, and everyone hearing the sound smiled.